a popular one, but unfortunately we don't have our BIM experts here today, but I asked my colleagues to advise. So could you shortly present the organization scheme and process for the BIM management between all the contractors and designers? So you will find the design guidelines on our website and get acquainted with those. I understood that the response can be found there, in particular, page 11 and 12. All right, so that now that we have cleared a few of the questions, please, it's time to hear about the Rail Baltica progress in Lithuania. So please welcome on the stage Dovydas Palaima, General Manager of LTG Infra, Rail Baltica Management.
Neris River Bridge, it's a complicated design bridge passing over the Neris River. Once it's completed, it will be part of the Rail Baltica railway.
Fekdantilste is carrying construction work on the Rail Baltica section from Kaunas to Panevėžys. Our company is responsible for 28 kilometers of embankment, a double track of railway and engineering structures in this section. This infrastructure project is unique and very important to our country.
It is the longest bridge in Lithuania, in Baltics. It's in the most developed section of this project, which is between Kaunas and the Latvia border. The bridge will have approximately 80,000 cubic meters of concrete, 1.5 kilometer bridge. The height will be 40 meters above the Neris River, and we'll have 376 piles under the foundations of the bridge. The project itself is, for us, is a kind of a collaboration between international and the locals in so many different ways.
There is constant activity cooperation with project owners, local authorities and other experts.
The collaboration is the key to succeed this project, as stakeholders is expecting from us.
Our team is very proud to be a part of this project, Rail Baltica, to be first engineers to add some value to this kind of projects. It's very, very great for us.
Honorable officials, dear partners and dear colleagues, I'm Dovydas Palaima, General Manager at Rail Baltica Management at LTG Lithuania. Today I'll provide you with an overview of project implementation status in Lithuania, as well as on our focuses due to this score. To this end, firstly we will have a short glimpse reminder on a project scope in Lithuania. Afterwards we'll turn to the implementation schedule of a project. Then we'll go to specific sections. We'll have an overview of the project implementation status and our priorities within. And finally, I'll get to the part which might be the most interesting for the market players, is our immediate procurements, which are due to be announced still this year or on early stages next year. So, short glimpse of the project scope in Lithuania. We have about 400 kilometers of the track. We have 3 transport hubs, we have 3 international stations, up to 15 regional stations. We have 2 EMFs, servicing depots, as well as 2 intermodal terminals. What's important to note is that Lithuania, in Lithuania Rail Baltica is split into 4 major sections, which go from Poland to Kaunas, from Kaunas to Latvia, from Kaunas to Vilnius, and Kaunas now, due to its complexity, is excluded as a separate section. Now, what's our focus? It was mentioned many times before me, and our Honorable Vice Minister mentioned that. Our major focus is to build the main line, to build on a core network, which we see as the connections between the borders, which means that we are striving to proceed with the construction of a main line going from Poland to Latvia. And to this end, we are conducting many project activities and expanding our project scope. in order to facilitate the project implementation, and we are in a constant search for the solutions how we can proceed with project implementations more faster and in a more efficient manner. This refers not only to the expansion of a project scope per se, which, for example, includes construction of the point-type objects prior to the construction of the embankment itself, which I will revert a bit later, but also for many processes as internally as externally, in order for them to be implemented in line. A good example here is, for example, implementation of land acquisition procedures and design services in parallel. Of course, all this wouldn't be achievable without proper team. Due to this end, we are consolidating our resources. This year we had incremental increase in our project capacities. We are up to proceed in the same manner next year and have sufficient resources in order to meet project implementation demands and deadlines. As our Vice Minister mentioned as well, we are up to proceed with operations of several lines prior to the official deadline of a project, which is 2030. So due to this end, we are striving to have various facilitation activities in order to meet these higher requirements for the project implementation. And last but not the least, of course, is active consultation with the market. We are constantly going to the market and talking with the marketplace, as well as inviting as local as international players to address us in order to have talks and to proceed with feasible participation within the procurements. Now, with regards to project implementation timeline, in Lithuania, the most advanced or the most major section we have now for today is, of course, Kaunas Latvian border section. In this section, spatial planning procedures and land acquisition procedures are finished. In other sections, spatial planning procedures are up to be finished this year or early next year, as well as land acquisition tenders are still to be signed still this year. With regards to construction works, towards the Latvian border, we already started active construction works, and these are expanding. In other sections, construction works are up to be started as of 2026. Of course, traffic management and signaling and electrification systems are due to be installed as of 2025, and testing and commissioning is due to be proceeded as of 2028. Now, with regards to our existing construction strategy in Lithuania, as it was mentioned before, we already started our construction works towards the Latvian border. Those darkish blue sections within my presentation, these are the areas whereas we already started construction works, or the tenders are already announced, and the new ones will be announced pretty soon. That means within the scope of this year or early stages of the next year. So we have this section towards the Latvian border basically split into two parts. These called design priority sections, design sections. Each of those design sections is sub-splitted, I would say, into 4 subparts, which refer as design priority sections. With regards to construction works partitioning, the scope of the works basically is divided into 3 major parts. The first one is embankment and related structures, the second one is upper track construction, and the third one is, of course, electrification and traffic management system. Now, let's switch to precise lines and precise sections. The first one, as mentioned before, the most major and advanced section is Kaunas Latvian border section. Spatial planning and land acquisition is already finished. Design is within the progress, as well as the construction works. By saying construction works, I mean already construction works in progress, as well, which refer to the embankment, access roads, as well as the tenders already announced for which we are waiting proposals, and the new tenders which are still to be announced in the immediate future. Now, implementation progress in Polish border Kaunas and Kaunas-Vilnius section. Basically, the maturity is about the same in these sections, so the spatial planning procedures are due to be finished by the end of this year or early stages of next year. Procurement for land acquisition services is announced, and a contract is due to be signed still this year. And design procurements are also announced, and the contract is due to be established within the first half of the second year. As mentioned before, construction works should commence in these sections as of 2026. Now, implementation status in our regional objects, or facilities as we call it. Basically, regional stations in Kaunas, Latvia section and Panevėžys node. Territorial planning is in progress, with up to be finished by the mid-2024. Infrastructure maintenance depots spatial planning procedure is finished. The procurement of services for land acquisition is announced. Going to the designs, as well the procurement for IMAVE, for infrastructure maintenance depots is announced, as well as for Kaunas-Vilnius regional connection, Kaunas railway station and Vilnius railway node. The contract is due to be signed still this year. So you see that this year is very fruitful for Lithuania. Until the end of this year, we still have much to do. Constructions are due to be commenced as of 2026. Now, I would like to draw your attention to this point-type object plan we had, of which I mentioned. This is the facilitation plan. So basically, what's interesting and what's particular to this kind of activity, that we are purchasing land plots on commercial basis. So basically, we are not proceeding with the land acquisition procedure. We are going with commercial procurements, and basically we will have up to 24 these kind of objects, which will be deployed in Kaunas node and in a section from Kaunas to the Polish border. Land purchases procedures are already finalizing. We already by finalizing, I mean that we are already finalizing those projects, land acquisition in Kaunas node, and already in a major process within a Polish border. The design for these objects, design tender, should be announced still this year. So pay attention, dear market players, and please participate actively in this tender. And construction is due to be started in 2025. Why we're doing this activity at all? Because it involves, of course, additional burden on our team. We're doing that because we believe that in this manner we might save up to 1 year in a project implementation timeline, which refers to the timing of operations towards the Polish border. As it was mentioned before, we are up to start operations by 2028. Now, the major part for market players, procurement. It's worth to mention that our major procurements with regards to the construction works or supervision services, these are conducted under DPS, which is referred to Dynamic Purchasing System. Dynamic Purchasing System consists of two major parts. The first part is pre-qualification or qualification, and the second part is the actual application and bidding for the tender. Dear market players, it's very important to understand that in order to submit your bid, you have to be pre-qualified. So if you are not submitting your application for qualification phase, you will not be allowed, or you will not be entitled to participate in the second stage. Therefore, I'm stressing this part because under Dynamic Purchasing System, we still have very important tenders ongoing, which refer to laboratory testing and research activities, as well as to construction and FIDIC supervision services, and to actual construction works. According to Dynamic Purchasing System, we are up to announce 2 tenders for construction of embankment and related structures, which totally will transfer to 49 kilometers. The first part of this tender should be announced still this year, and the second part of this tender should be announced at early stages of next year. What's more important to this end is that we are still this year, we are up to announce the tender for upper track construction. And attention, this will be done for a whole line ranging from Kaunas to Latvian border. So basically we will have up to 169 kilometers of upper track construction. Going further to design services, still this year, as I mentioned, this year should be very fruitful. We will have a very, I guess we will have a very tense fourth quarter. Still this year we are up to announce tenders for the designs. That's for Panevėžys node, Panevėžys Latvian border railway section, after that point type objects, and of course regional stations in Kaunas Panevėžys line. And of course this will be accompanied by expert and consulting services for Kaunas Vilnius section and Vilnius node. Now, what are our expectations and advices? Dear partners, the only advice is to be proactive, follow our information, and address us in advance prior the factual tenders are announced. In this way, we can find common solution and align, adapt our views in order for all the parties to feel comfortable and have effective partnership at the end of the day. So you can follow our information on our websites as well as on official public procurement websites. You can follow us on social media and contact us directly with regards to ongoing tenders and when tenders still to be announced, or with all other matters with regards to Rail Baltica affairs. Thank you. Let's cooperate.
Thank you, Dovydas. Before we turn to this kind invitation to cooperate, we have a few questions from the audience coming in. First one about the connection to Poland. Rail Baltica will connect to European network through Poland. How does it progress in Poland, and when the link between Lithuania and Polish border and Warsaw will be ready?
Yeah, due to this end, we are in close partnership with our Polish colleagues. I must say we have even 2 or 3 actual working groups within, so the progress is synchronized. And basically our Polish partners, as mentioned before, are up to connect our border earlier than 2030. That's why we also have this impetus to connect the Polish side the sooner as the official deadline of Rail Baltica implementation.
Another question from Fabian, also relating to borders. So it's a broader one, but I think you can also answer it from the Lithuanian point of view. How are connections Estonia, Latvia, and Latvia, Lithuania managed? Is the transition from one implementer to the other directly at the border?
That there are, of course, many specialists and working groups are also working on that, and all these activities between Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, which refers not only to physical connections but as well to operation of Rail Baltica, are in constant development, and I believe that operational plan as well as common management of a system will be implemented, but that's within the progress. So basically we are now concentrating on infrastructure development, and afterwards in parallel we are working on a common operational plan.
Thank you. Next question also about scheduling. Very impressive point type object, the Neris Bridge. Why is the construction of the Neris Bridge going so slowly? Construction started a year ago, but very little has been done so far.
Well, I wouldn't say very little. I would say a lot. If we would look to the milieu in which we are operating, well, this is mainly due to the, I would say mainly due to the inconsistencies in design. However, we always are promoting close cooperation between us and contractor, as well between the designer. We are talking on a constant basis. We are looking for solutions, And basically, due to this end, the progress is obvious, what we saw within a movie. Of course, everything could be done better, everything could be done faster, and I agree that we have quite complicated questions to solve. However, the progress is obvious, and due to our cooperation and goodwill of the parties, the process is moving forward, and I believe it will be kept in the same manner for a time to come.
Another question about construction just coming in. Estonia, Latvia are building separate structures. Lithuania is building mainline with all structures. Why did Lithuania decide to build the entire DPS at once?
Well, we didn't decide to build the entire DPS at once. Oh, okay, that's the question, why we don't do that, right?
Why you did choose a different approach?
No, we didn't choose a different approach, as our Estonian colleague, my Estonian colleague, was elaborating. If we would go to the Kaunas-Latvian border section, as mentioned in my presentation, this section is basically divided into 8 subsections. Why is it done? That's also due to the lack of proper technical documentation, and also going from a public procurement side. It was the first section whereas we announced tenders for construction works. So basically we were learning and experimenting, and we thought that small, let's say, splitting into small parts will entitle more market players to participate and to contribute to the implementation of Rail Baltica. Now, with regards to the whole DPS, so first of all, we have no whole DPS announced for construction works. However, this might be an option. We are not excluding that, because we learned our lessons from Kaunas-Latvian border section. And with regards to other sections, which I refer to Kaunas-Vilnius and to Kaunas-Polish border, it is not excluded that the tender might be announced for a whole section. Even though I can't confirm that, because we are still, our construction strategy for the sections is still under development. That's why we are encouraging and we are aiming to meet as many contractors in order to have a comprehensive view in which way we should proceed further in order to have effective results as time-wise as financially-wise. That's why we already met with the market players from France, from Poland, even from South Korea. And we really encourage all participants of this industry day to approach us and to have contact with us and to discuss and to consult us, because this consultancy will revert to the tenders which are applicable to your situation and will entitle you to participate within our tenders. So I'm not excluding the whole DPS. Actually, it's on my mind, and I think it's very convenient, because whenever you have whole DPS, you have very few interfaces, which is a less administrative burden. But this is not a fact yet. We'll see.
All right. Your colleague Gusts Ashman spoke of infrastructure management. It is known that LTG will be the infrastructure manager of the Rail Baltica section within Lithuania. So a question to the future infrastructure manager. We got this question twice, so I think it's important to address it. Are there any estimates of the costs of maintenance in the future of the line?
No, I don't have this data. However, I know that, let's say, the department which is in charge at LTG Group for maintenance, we are preparing, and we are also in constant contact. And they are consolidating also resources in order to be ready on time and to have a smooth overtaking of a line in order to maintain it.
Thank you. So, to finalize your presentation here today at the Industry Day, let's get to back to your invitation of cooperation. Maybe you can just point out what the major upcoming procurements are, the major opportunities. Mm-hmm. And maybe end on a message for the supplier community?
I can start now with a message. Supply community, please address us and consult us actively, because really we're still lacking your proactivity. We know that you are there, but understand that our resources are limited and we can't reach to everyone. So please be proactive and approach us. And to this end, we'll have a comprehensive overview of the market, and you will have an opportunity to have a, I wouldn't say favorable, but flexible technical specifications in order for you to take part in our tender. Now, with regards to immediate procurements, I would exclude several, I guess. The first one is design for upper track, design for point type objects, which will be announced still this year. Then we have design of Panevėžys node, and then we have design of Panevėžys Polish borderline. So these are really big tenders, and I would kindly invite you to participate. With regards to construction works, I would exclude upper track construction. Then I would exclude those 39 kilometers of which I mentioned in my presentation. As said before, the first tender for these 39 kilometers, for 12 kilometers, should be announced still this year, and the second chunk for 37 kilometers should be announced early next year. So please be proactive and approach us in order to discuss your possibilities to participate in this tender. And what's more, according to our DPS system, as I said, please, DPS system allows you to register through very long period of time. However, the earlier you do it, the earlier you'll be entitled to participate in our exact tenders. So please don't wait too much, register now, it's just a procedure. And in this way, you will be pre-qualified to participate and to bid your proposals for our procurements. Thank you.
Thank you, Davidas.
Thank you.